Hello, it's Saturday, May 30th, 2015, and I'm Mark Sletton, the Sletton Real Estate Group, and also a member of the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Utah Properties team. Yesterday, as I was getting ready to head out the door of my home to work, I was multitasking, having a cup of coffee, packing up my briefcase, and also watching the network news about the devastating rain and floods going on in Texas. I have lived in both Dallas and Houston and have lots of friends and family still there, so I'm very empathetic to what's going on, and our heartfelt thoughts and prayers go out to those families that have been impacted. Right after that particular piece, the network was doing some questions on the impacts of global climate change on all of these severe weather extremes that we're seeing around the world, from the floods going on right now in Texas to the severe winter the northeastern part of the U.S. experienced last year, to the drought in the west that's impacting us here in the Rocky Mountains, and particularly Park City, the receding, unprecedented receding of the glaciers around the world, especially those in the Alps. The fellow's name was Bill Nye. He's called the Science Guy. You've seen him on television and various blogs and so forth over the years. And his answer was very specific in that, number one, that carbon emissions are creating a global climate change, and that global climate change is having a real impact on these severe weather situations we're seeing around the world. He also went on to say, it was very interesting, that 97% of the world's scientists, and by scientists he defined that as being, not being your average chemist or geophysicist, but rather scientists or climatologists that focus on weather and climate and so forth, 97% say the empirical data absolutely indicates that carbon emissions are the cause, and that global warming is in fact creating, or at least significantly contributing to, these really weird and severe weather things we're seeing around the country. Well, I had to head off to work. I had appointments throughout the day, and finally got back into the office late in the afternoon. And after returning emails and phone calls and such, I went online to see what was going on in the Park City Film Series this weekend. And lo and behold, there was a piece on climate change. And as I had left watching The Science Guy, I was struck by, well, who is this other 3%? What are they doing and what are they thinking? And this film that's coming this weekend, started last night, it'll be again tonight and tomorrow at the film series, called The Merchants of Doubt. And listen to this. This is what they say about the film. Filmmaker Robert Kenner lifts the curtain on a secretive group of highly charismatic, silver-tongued pundits for hire who present themselves in the media as scientific authorities, yet have the contrary aim of spreading maximum confusion about well-studied public threats ranging from toxic chemicals to pharmaceuticals to climate change. So there's the other 3%. Now, everybody in the world has got a dog in this hunt, to use a phrase I learned when I lived in Texas, a dog in this hunt relative to climate change. But those of us that live in the mountains in towns like Park City have really a pack of dogs in the hunt. Because not only do we have the impact of climate change on our lives in general, but we've likely moved here and lived here for the snow and the ice that we have in the wintertime to ski on, to board on, to ice climb on. And once it melts, they create the wildflowers and the greenery of the trails that we hike around. So I am going to go to this film tonight. I hope you will. It's at the Prospector Square Conference Center and Lodge. But I'm also going to reflect on what the Science Guy said at the very end of his interview. He was asked what the average person, you and me, could do to impact climate change. And his answer was very different than I thought it was going to be. I thought it would be the typical, well, cut down on driving, use the bus more. Clearly I'm a culprit of that. I live in Park Meadows on Holiday Ranch on the bus route, and I don't take the bus enough. But things like, that was what I was expecting his answer to be. His answer actually was the following: talk about it. And of course, the idea being, if enough of us are talking about it, we can overcome the noise that 3% makes and really get the word out there. So I'm going to start by learning more about it tonight. We're going to go to the 8 o'clock tonight, I think. And if not, we'll hit tomorrow night. I suggest you might want to do the same thing. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Mark Sletton. My cell phone number is 435-640-0930. My email is msletton, S-L-E-T-T-E-N, at BHHS. That's the acronym for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. msletton at bhhsutah.com. My website, slettonrealestategroup.com. Thanks, and go to the movies. Bye.